All right, so here we go. Practice test 2. The whole front page is this graphing thing. So it's been a while since we did any of this because we've been doing some of that other stuff. So let's see what we remember about all the rules about graphing. So the shape we have this time, and every time the shape is different. This time the shape we have is a little trapezoid. And a semicircle. All right, everybody okay with the given?
Which letter are we on?
We're starting right at the beginning. So we're on practice test 2, problem number 1. And here we go. First one says f of negative 2x. Two things are happening here. We have a negative and we have a 2. Deshani.
Sideways flip in half is 1.
Exactly. She's nailed it. Did you hear what she said? Sideways flip and half as y. So what does sideways flip mean? Sideways flip means the trapezoid's over here and the circle's over here. Half as wide means this circle right now is how wide? 1, 2, 3, 4. So now it's only going to be 2. And it's going to be on this side. So there's the circle. It's now on this side, sideways flip, and it's half as wide. Now, see this trapezoid? He's now over here. And how wide is he? 1, 2, 3, 4. So now he is 2. Whoops. There we go. There is a picture for problem number 1.
When we make trapezoids wide, does it matter how big or small the top is?
Well, it should be the same, well, proportionally, so this guy's 2 across.
Yeah.
So this guy should be 1 across.
Okay.
It's easier on the graph paper, Paul. Mine is a little bit distorted because I'm not a very good drawer. But if you look on the graph paper, you can see it's 2 across the top. All right, everybody okay with that? All right, then we go to B. Now, 2 things are happening in B2. And this is one that I'm going to do in 2 steps. Who remembers what this does? Bottoms up. Everything's up. Everything that's on the bottom is going to get folded up to the top. So I'm going to do that first. Okay? So this is bottoms up. And what's this do when I get to it?
Up 1.
Up 1. Okay, so here we go. The trapezoid is not changing because he is already up. So he's staying up. The semicircle, though, is going to get folded up. That's this part only. Is everybody okay with that? Now, I'm going to take the whole shebang and pick it up 1. So every point is getting picked up 1 unit. And you have graph paper, so that's easy for you to do. The blue is the answer. You working along? Okay. Everybody good with that? Okay, then we're ready for C. C is f of 1/2 x. Okay, only one thing's changing, only one number in the problem. What's that 1/2 going to do?
2 times is 1.
2 times is y. Very good, Paul. So 2 times as wide. So what does that mean? That means that my little semicircle, which was 1, 2, 3, 4 wide, is now going to be 5, 6, 7, 8 wide. It's still going down just one. It's all stretched out. And my trapezoid, that was 1, 2, 3, 4 this way, is now 5, 6, 7, 8 this way. Still too tall. And now twice as wide. That is problem C. Anybody have a question about C? All right, D. Some of you can probably do this in one step. I'm going to do it in two. First thing I'm going to do is what's in parentheses. That's my PEMDAS, my order of operations. I'm going to do what's in parentheses first. So tell me what this does. Which way? Right 3. You are exactly right. If you said right 3, you are right. What is this going to do? Twice as tall. All right, so I'm going to go right 3 first, which means my circle that used to start at the origin now starts over here at 3. He's the same size, but he starts over at 3. And then my trapezoid is going to end right here. There we go. Everything got moved 3 units to the right. So you just count blocks on your paper. Move it all over 3. So if it was at -4, now it's at -1. Everything gets moved 3. Okay? Now I gotta make it twice as tall, which means all the Y's are doubled. So that means this guy's up here at 4. And this guy is down here at -1. So the red is the answer. All right, we good? One more. This one has a lot going on. This one has 3 things happening. All right, so what's happening in this problem?
Upside down.
Upside down. This is upside down. Upside down. All right, what's that?
Twice as tall.
Twice as tall. And what's this? That's your right side mirror?
Yeah.
That means we draw the right side and mirror it onto the left. All right, so I'm going to start right there. That's in parentheses. I'm going to start with that. So back to my original picture, the right side is this. So I will mirror that onto the other side. So that takes care of this right here. All right. Now I'm going to make it twice as tall. Or in this case, twice as far down. So I'm going to end up with this. The dashed is twice as tall. Okay, doubled. Instead of the valleys being down 1, the valleys are now down 2. And then I gotta turn it upside down, which is gonna do what? It's gonna take this valley and turn it into a hill. And the blue is the answer to the question. Okay, did everybody follow all those steps? That was a hard one. All right, that's a whole page of the test. Now we're ready to go to the second page, which is a whole page of word problems. And you know exactly what word problems. They're the same ones as were on practice test 1. So the first one we've got is the box problem. Now, you all have a calculator today. Every single person has one. So I want you to be working these out on your calculator to make sure you know how come test day, which is Thursday. All right, so we've got a 10 by 16 piece of paper. We're gonna cut corners out. I'm not gonna get sneaky and change anything up, guys. We're gonna make a box exactly the same way we've been making a box. We're gonna fold up the flaps, and we wanna maximize the volume. Give me an equation for the volume. That's what question A says. What is the volume of the box? What's it gonna be? Here we go. Well, it's length times width times height. So for this particular problem, what will it be?
2x,
16 minus 2x, 10 minus 2x, and x. Boys and girls, I feel like I'm talking to myself. This equation never changes, ever. So it happens to be a 16 by 10 piece of paper, it could be anything. And it's dimension minus 2x, dimension minus 2x times x. That's our equation. Got it? Domain. That means x is going to be between what and what? Now think, we talked about this. X is going to be between what and what?
0.
Always 0 and half the smallest dimension, so that would be 5. Now, if you miss these questions, it's because you're not paying attention or studying, because that never changes. It's always the same. Always 0, half the smallest dimension. Now, find the maximum volume. This is where you need your calculator. So, we're going to put this equation in where it says y equals. We're putting in that equation. Where it says x min and x max, we're putting in those numbers. And then we'll put in y min is 0, always. It's a volume, it can't be negative. And then remember what we do with y max? What do? We guess a number, and then what happens? You either see your top of your parabola or you don't. So if you don't, you pick a bigger number, right? And you keep picking numbers until you see your hill. All right, let's do it. Everybody do it. And if you can't get it, look over on your neighbor. Get good at it. Keep going.
That's what you get in the calculator. I can do it on paper.
Okay, well, get it in the calculator because that's the only way you're going to answer this question. Did you see the top of it? What did you use for y max?
200.
He used 200 for y max and it worked perfectly. Other numbers would work perfectly too, but we'll let the birthday boy be happy today.
Yeah.
200 is a good number.
It was already on there.
That's good. Might not work for the next problem though, so you may have to adjust it. All right, so now everybody's got a picture. Well, I'm sure, John, that is because of operator error. Dimension mismatch.
And then you go to window.
But you guys can do this.
Kids, go to y equals and type in the equation. It won't graph the equation if you haven't given it the
So
equation.
then, what's the answer to that?
You do second calc and find the maximum. You're looking for the top of the hill. So you do second calc, set your left bound and your right bound.
This is what? It's not red.
We need the second calc.
When you do the
How do you set a boundary on this
are you
board?
gonna take the y value or the x value?
What do you think? Yes, X value will be the size of the cutout. We want the Y value. Once you get the maximum, it's an ordered pair. Robbie, you got it? What is it? The point, yeah. Okay, we'll get the point. So we second count,
I'm lost.
left bound, right bound. Ask one of your neighbors then. You have to do this on test day.
None of them know.
Alright, what are you trying to find out? How to find the max? Alright, so that's it. The 4. 4.
Hey, this is where I'm at, man.
Now go to the left. You bring your spider all the way to the left of the hill.
Good, now
Any point
second
on the left of
count,
the hill.
left bound, right bound, get your
Now hit enter.
maximum.
Move your spider to the right of the top of the hill.
Anybody have this point? I gave away all my calculators. Gabby?
Hit enter. And now go to like an area that's like on the top of the hill.
Do the one, what are these ones?
2, comma,
I can.
144. So it came out exactly 2.
Well, it was like
No idea.
1.99.
What? No idea what I mean. Alright.
All right, raise your hand if you got 2, comma, 144. Okay, this is an issue. I mean, awesome. Those of you that did, it's an issue that the rest of you aren't getting this.
Move your spider to the left of the hill.
So, Maddie?
Any point on the top of the hill. And move your spider to the right of the top.
Well, she said this one was 190 or was 1.999999, so rounding that would be 2. I don't know what this one was.
1.99997, and that's 1.4 exactly.
144 exactly. Yeah. So yes, you normally would write decimals, but in this case, we're asking you to write.
Why'd you guys get this?
Okay, now,
The answer is varied.
no, there's one correct answer. One correct answer. You got the wrong equation in there. Yeah. If you don't have the right equation in, no, that's perfect. If you don't have the right equation in, you're not gonna get the right answer. So, let's stop pressing buttons and listen to Mrs. Ford for a minute. This was how you set your window up. But none of it counts if you don't type this equation in where it says y equals. So you have to do both things. You have to type in the equation and you have to set up your window. Once you can see the top of the hill, then you'll do your second calc maximum, and then left bound, right bound, yes. And you should come up with this answer. The picture doesn't look like this. This is the leftover from the last one. That should be the point that you come up with. Then we have to answer the question. Find the maximum volume of the box. You have 2 answers. You have a 2 and a 144. Which one of those is the volume? 144 cubic inches. What does the 2 stand for? It's the X. So what does it stand for? It stands for what? the cutout, the size of the cutout. Remember when you made your box, if you want to make it as big as possible, you're going to let X be 2. You're going to cut out 2. Did you get it now? Yeah. Okay. GTQ. All these are. So you can sit there and let everybody else type it in, but come test day, you're going to miss that question if you don't know how to type it in on your calculator. Number 3, this was like your quiz question. Find the final cost of the meal. The food costs $16.55. We're going to multiply it by 2 things. One is a tax, and one is a tip. So this time, they're both add-ons, right? No subtractions here. This is all increases. So we're going to take our $16.55 and multiply it by what? 1.07. Perfect. And 1.20. There we go. Type it in, round it off to the nearest cent, and the answer is 21.25. Agreement on that? I'm taking your word for it since I don't have a calculator anymore. All right. Next one. We got another quiz type question. Amount times percent plus amount times percent equals amount times percent. So here we go. I'm going to fill in my 6 numbers. Percentages are 0.28, 0.10, and 0.22. Everybody okay with that? How much? 28%, so I'll make that X. And where do I put the 20? With the, does the 20 go here or the 20 go here?
With the 10.
With the 10. So the 20 goes there, which means this blank out here is going to be what? X plus 20. Or I'll say 20 plus X. That's what I've been saying. 20 plus X. Okay, so now I do my multiplication. Is that 0.44? No. Help me, is that 4.4?
Yeah.
Plus 0.22. So I got 2.4 divided by 0.06. Is that 40? And that would be 40 cups. We want to make sure we put a label on it. So 40 cups. Anybody have a question about that? Everybody good? Okay, tuition was 11.8, and now it is 12.2. What is the percent of increase? Do you remember your little formula for this? Percent of increase is? No, that's for interest, if we were doing an interest problem. And notice there isn't one of those on here, so there probably won't be one on your test, right? What's the formula for percent of increase?
Oh, the formula?
Yeah.
I just did 11,800 divided by 12,200 and then subtracted that to give.
Okay, let's see if that works out, because the way we normally would do this problem, who remembers? Let's see if we get the same answer.
The difference.
We take the difference. Okay, and what's the difference here? How much did it increase? 400. And then what, Ethan?
Divided by the original.
divided by the original. So this is the correct answer, Robbie, so type it in and see how it compares to yours. That's the correct answer. We take the difference and divide it by the original. When do we do that? Anytime it says percent of increase or percent of decrease. 0.034 would be 3.4%. So this is a 3.4. Is that what you got?
We got 3.3, yeah, must have subtracted.
Okay, maybe. Or it could be that it's not quite the best way to do the problem too. I'm not sure. You may round it differently too. All right, everybody okay with 3.4? Everybody see how we got that? All right, next page. Consider this thing as drawn. Okay. Is the picture that's drawn a function? Yes. Why? Passes vertical line test. Is its inverse a function? No. Why? Does not pass horizontal line test. Is it 1-to-1? No. Does not pass both tests. To be 1-to-1, you have to pass the vertical and the horizontal. This one only passes the vertical. It's a function. Its inverse is not a function. Now we're going to sketch it. Now, do you remember our strategy? What's our strategy for sketching this? Take the ordered pairs, and I always suggest to kids that they label them on the original. Some lazy kids won't do that, and it's okay. I hope it works for you. I'm going to go ahead and label them all. Okay. And then I'm just going to turn them around. So instead of plotting the point -2, 0, I will plot the point 0, -2. And -1, 2 becomes 2, -1. Oh, 2, -1. And 0, 0. So there's my triangle. My big triangle. Now 1, 1 stays right where it's at. 0, 2. There's my little triangle. -1, 3. -1, 4. And 0, 5. There's my trapezoid. There we go. Okay, how do you tell something's a function? It passes the vertical line test. How do you tell if its inverse is a function? It passes the horizontal line test. How do you tell if it's 1-to-1? It passes both. How do you graph the inverse? You simply switch all of the ordered pairs. It's a 4-part question. Everybody's going to get a perfect paper. Now, part 7 says, find the inverse. Not graph it, but now find the equation for the inverse. All right, so we practice these. Notice when I copied it down, I changed my f of x into a y. is going on here?
I have a splinter in my finger from my pencil.
You have a mechanical pencil. How do you get a splinter from a mechanical pencil?
That's what's concerning, it's plastic.
It'll be okay.
Okay, do you think you need to go to the nurse, or do you think you can wait?
I can
Okay, that would be good. Okay, so I've changed my f of x to y. Alright, what do I do next?
Multiply the denominator. Or
No,
move the denominator on the other.
Nope, I gotta do something big first. What do I do, Asia? What do I what? Exactly.
Oh.
X's and Y's need to switch. If you forget this step, you will end up with exactly what you started with, and we don't want that. So we are going to switch our X's and Y's. Everybody got that? That is step one. Now, I'm gonna bring my denominator over and distribute. So I have 2yx plus x equals 3y minus 8. I'm bringing that over here. Now comes the step that for some reason is the hardest for us to remember to do. What do we need to do now?
Y's and X's.
Exactly. So the y's got to be on the same side. They're the important thing. So anything with a y is going to be on one side, and anything without a y is going to the other side. So I'm adding and subtracting, moving things around so that all the y's are together. Why do I want that? Why do I want my y's together? So I can do what? Factor them out. I'll take that y out and be left with 2x minus 3. So y equals negative x minus 8 over 2x minus 3. And that's my inverse. So one more time. Step one, change the y's and the x's. Step two, move your denominator over and distribute it. Move all of the y's to the same side, factor them out, divide by the parentheses. Now B is the same exact thing, only much, much easier. B is an easy one. And it's easy because there's only one y. When I switch my variables, there's only one y, so I just need to get it by itself. See, the problem here was there were two y's. Here, there's only one. So to get y by itself, I'll start by multiplying by 4. And then I will add 3. And then I'll divide by 8. Are you going to cancel that 4 and that 8? Oh, please don't, because I'll have to take points off. When could I cancel that 4 and that 8?
All three are
If that had something in that would cancel too, like if it were 2 or something, then I could do it. But if I can't do all 3, I don't do any of it. All right, number 8. Who remembers how I can tell you real quickly if these two guys are inverses or not? Who remembers? Ethan, pick a random number.
7.
7. I'm going to put 7 in this function right here. If I put 7 in for x, what comes out? 17. Now I'm gonna take that 17 and I'm gonna put it in G, and what better happen? I better get 7. If 7 got changed into 17, then 17 better get changed into 7. What happens when I put 17 in here? I get 14 over 2, which is 7. Are they inverses? Yes. Why? Because when I put in 7, I got 17, and then when I plugged in 17, I got my 7 back. That's the reason they're inverses.
So, when it says, why we're not, what's a condensed version of saying?
You say what I just said, and yes, you may have to write a whole sentence.
You say like, I got 7.
Yeah.
I got 17.
Yeah.
and I put-
Now, if you don't want to use I, you can say, when 1 plugs in 7, he gets 17. When he then plugs in 17, he gets 7. All right, how do we do, number 9 is a cinch. Number 9 is easy. It says let T be -2, so what's your ordered pair? Well, what's your X value if T is -2? -3. Those of you that are sitting there in confusion, oh my gosh. X is 2T plus 1. If T is -2, then X is going to be -3, right? What's Y going to be? Look at the Y equation. What's Y? 4. There's your ordered pair. That's all you have to do. Plug in the T value they give you. Now 10 is a little bit more complicated than that. Still not hard at all. A little more work. 10 says, instead of having 2 equations, write this as 1 equation. That's what that direction means. Write 1 equation. A direct algebraic relationship. 1 equation. So what do we need to do? Who remembers? Get T alone. Does it matter which equation I get T alone in? No. Could I do both? Yes. I'm not going to in this problem. I think it's easier to just do one. I'm going to rewrite this equation as T equals what? What does T equal if I get it alone? How would I get T by itself? Well, I really don't want to divide by a fraction. What would be another way I could do that? Multiply by 2. So T equals 2y. Dividing by 1/2 is the same as multiplying by 2, and that's easier than dividing by 1/2. So I'll multiply by 2. So T equals 2y. Which means, what can I put in right there? 2y. So x equals 4 minus 2 times 2y. So x equals 4 minus 4y. And I would probably rewrite that in good form like this. Just put the x's and y's on the same side. So it looks like a normal equation. And then finally, number 11, that's that tricky one. It's been on both practice tests, so I'm pretty sure it's going to be on the test. We got to write the equation. So in other words, what numbers and negatives and pluses and minuses and whatever are we going to put in here so that we can get from figure 1 to figure 2? All right, so let's make a list. What has changed in going from figure 1 to figure 2? What has changed? Paul?
It's twice as tall.
It's twice as tall.
Upside down flip.
It's twice as tall. It's upside down.
And it went down 2.
And it went, oh my gosh, down 2. All right, so first of all, can everybody see that it's upside down? Can everybody see everything's 2 times as tall as it was originally? And it's dropped down 2 units from the axis. Okay. Now we have to put all that into our equation. So how do we handle twice as tall? We put a 2 out here in front, right? That's the twice as tall spot. How do we handle the upside down? We put a negative out in front. How do we handle picking it up and going down 2? -2 on the end. Very good. That's the answer to the question. Okay, so take a couple minutes rest. If you can't get the maximum on your calculator, I want you to bring it up to me, and then we're going to start practice test 2. So if you can't do it, what is the issue?
Can we use the restroom?
Yeah.
2 o'clock?
Yeah.
2 or 1.
Get right back. Other classes are going on. You can't be out there disturbing. Hurry up. Hurry up. If you don't know how to do your calculator, bring it up to me. Right now. Yes. Okay. So starting where? No, you have the problem. Go get the problem. Whatever we're doing on the calculator, which I suppose is the box problem. Right? So you have that. Is the box problem, finding the maximum volume.
It's a different practice. Because I've been working out for
They're all the same. We would do the practice test number 2. You're in the wrong chapter. You want to be the 1.17. So set up the box problem real quick. We have 1 minute. Set up the box problem real quick. Where are you two supposed to be? You mean like moving down?
Yeah.
All right, hurry back to government. Yep, I keep telling you. So we'll just have to do that. We'll do that one first on practice test 3. Oh, I'm really out of order. Okay, let's get out practice test 3 and let's get as far as we can with practice test 3. Okay? So here we go. Let's do the word problem page first. You'll have to remind me on Wednesday what we've done and not done because I won't remember. But the practice test 3 is set up exactly like the test. Okay? So whatever's on page 1, 2, the 3rd page of the test is word problems, so it's just like this. Okay? And then the last page of the actual test is the graphing stuff. So here we go. We're doing the word problems now. We are on practice test 3. Everybody there? Practice test 3. And we're doing the word problems. So we're starting with page 8, which says we have a 12 by 20 piece of paper. And we're cutting out the corners just like we always do. I promise nothing's going to change. So we're gonna fold everything up and make a box. Now we're gonna write an equation for the volume of the box.
That clock must be going off.
What?
Okay, Austin.
What's that?
You're all gonna bring me a box of Kleenex.
For what?
Full size, non-generic,
For what?
for being late.
What do you do with these Kleenexes after a certain amount?
Well, I supply my department. But we go through a lot down here. Okay, what is the equation for the volume of the box? You late people, we are on practice test 3, problem number 8. We skipped to the word problems. But the test is laid out exactly like practice test 3. The test is a carbon copy of practice test 3 with different numbers. So problem 8 on the test is this right here. What is the equation for this box? 12 minus 2x, 20 minus 2x, x. The equation for the volume of the box will always be dimension minus 2x, dimension minus 2x times x. Period. Every time. No difference ever, as long as we don't change the format of the box, which I'm not going to do. Now, what's my domain? That never changes either. X is between always 0 and always half the smallest dimension, which in this case would be 6. And then we get our calculator out, and we need to see something that looks like that, and we need to find that point right there, right? So we go to y equals, and we put this equation in. Don't use the equation that's in there right now, you guys, because it's for the last problem. It won't give you the right answer. You've got to change the equation. Go to y equals, and type this in exactly like I wrote it. Then what do? I go to my window. And what's 0? X min. What's 6? X max. Right? Now what's y min? Always. These things never change. Now, I don't know what y max you had set before, 200 maybe. Just leave it and press graph and see if you can see the top of your hill.
Nope.
Nope. So what does that mean? If you can't see the top of the hill, you need to pick a bigger y max. So yeah, it doesn't matter. Just pick a bigger y max. Your goal is you got to pick a number big enough to see the top of the hill. So you keep changing y max until you see the top of the hill. Robbie?
I think nothing's showing up.
Now, once you see the top of the hill, what do?
Run to it.
How do you know the max?
All right, what do we do once we see the top of the hill? Second calc, go down to max, hit maximum, and then left bound, set it over here, right bound, set it over here, put it here in the middle, hit yes, equals, enter, whatever, and it should give you the maximum, which is what? 2.4. 2.43 and
262.
262.68. And again, I gave away my calculator, so I don't know. Do we have agreement on that? Do those look okay?
Oh, I know.
So what do we put in the answer blank that says find the maximum volume of the box? 262.68 cubic inches.
We would put 4.
All right, now, if you can't do that, you need to have your butt in here before school tomorrow, so we can go over it, okay? Because that's a test question, so if you don't take the time to do that, then you will miss this question. And that's just stupid, because it's easy. All right, number 9. Find the cost of your meal if the food is $16.75. You are going to pay a 7% tax and a 15% tip. All right, so what do I need to multiply my 16.75 by? Paul?
0.85 and 1.07.
Okay, 1.07 would be my tax, because that's an add-on. But what about my tip now?
1.15.
1.15, because that's not a discount. That's another add-on, just like taxes, right? Now, if I were buying something that was 15% off, then I would multiply by 0.85. So round off to the nearest cent. What is the final answer?
61.
What? 161.
20.6.
Oh, 20.61. Okay, that makes more sense. $20.61, is that okay? All right, now we got our mixture problem.
Didn't we just do this one?
Oh, yeah, we've just done all these, but we're doing them again
Oh, this is
because
kind of like the quiz question.
practice makes perfect. Here we go. Yeah, this is your third one of these today. Let's see if we can get it right. You should be able to, since we've done it so many times just today. All right, so I got my 6 numbers I'm gonna multiply and add and stuff. All right, so I got a 0.23, a 0.52, and a 0.35. This is X. How much? 23%. So I'm gonna put X there. Now, where do I put the 30 ounces? Where does that 30 go? With the 0.52. When the blank is at the end, it's 30 plus X, right? If the blank were in this spot, which it sometimes is, it's 30 minus X. All right, so here we go. I'm going to rely on you because you have the calculator and I do not. So you're going to have to check my work. I know, I got it written down on here. I hate long division, so I'm gonna let you type that in. I don't even know if it's right, so I don't know. Robbie? 42.5, and that would be 42.5 ounces. Anybody match that? 42.5, good. All right, and finally, last problem of the day. Last year, our pre-cal book cost $123. This year it costs $134. Find the percent of increase. So what do? Paul?
Take 123 divided by 11.
So 11 divided by 123. And where did the 11 come from, Paul?
The difference.
The difference. Remember, percent of increase or decrease is the change divided by the original. The difference divided by the original. So the difference is 11, the original is 123, so the answer is?
0.9%.
What?
8.9%.
8.9%. So when she typed this in, she must have gotten 0.089,
Yeah.
which she wrote as an 8.9% increase. All right, so remind me on Wednesday that we have finished this page, but we still have the rest of the practice test to do. If you have a calculator issue, we have 3 minutes. We can try and take care of it now. If you don't have a calculator issue, you are free to go as soon as I get all my calculators back. Nobody leaves till I get all my calculators back.
Huh?
All right, so I need all my, I need all my calculators back. There's my red one. Okay, wait, I got one more out there. Who else has my calculator? You got, okay, yeah. Get it out, put it in your equation. I said we do it right now. Kristen, you turn it on.